Welcome to the Squared Circle Jerks podcast. I am Mike. He is Byron.
Correct.
Do we have an intro today, or do we?
I had one, but you already did it, so
Alrighty. Today we are talking about the Royal Rumble as our primary main event of the evening, but we're also going to touch on NXT Takeover and NXT's final show before Takeover, the Go Home show. That's the word I'm looking for. And next week we'll give you a double dose of Impact because we're skipping Impact this week.
Yeah, I feel the need to catch up on ROH as well, but I just don't give myself the time.
Yes, the problem is finding time in the day. We also watched Rev Pro, but
it was not good. I was lied to.
It was not good. No, it was not good.
The hype was not real. It was, in a nutshell, it was amateurish. The quality was bad. The quality of the wrestling was bad. The quality of the filmography was bad. The sound quality was bad. The announcers were bad. We didn't even bother watching the main event because we really didn't need to watch a Zack Sabre Jr. Match on that level.
Yeah, no, that was kind of the problem with the card. Really, up and down is it's pro wrestling is, if you're really into it, a pretty predictable event when it comes down to it. There's an obvious winner moving on and whatever. But when you look at that card, it's like, so Ospreay's going to win that match, Zack Sabre Jr. is going to win that match, and Jay White's going to win that match. And when you eliminate that, I mean, there's just not really much of a card to wow you or surprise you. And I did enjoy the first match with Shaw Samuels and Josh Bodkin, the Matt Riddle, discount Matt Riddle from Britain.
Yeah.
That was pretty good. So, it started off okay, but the fact that it never really rised above that level was a bit of a problem. So let's talk about the NXT Go Home show. We opened up with Velveteen Dream doing a promo that kind of randomly paints him going for the North American title with a match already booked for TakeOver. So that was kind of a bit weird. And basically this set up a matchup with Bobby Fish later on in the evening because the era came out. We got a fracas, and, there you go.
More like Bobby Fist. Or not. Probably not.
We had Britt and Bruiser versus Bartel and Eichner, and this was all kinds of fun. This was great.
Indeed. I don't think anybody lost a nose or anything.
Stunning. With the amount of brutality potentially in this match. But at the end of the day, Oney Lorcan got the roll-up for the win. This Bartel and Eichner are coming along very nicely. Britt and Bruiser is a fantastic mold for what they could be, frankly. Two guys kind of just randomly thrown together off of a really good match, and has become pretty much the most interesting tag team on the roster, outside of Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong. So there you go.
So I would really like them to get their release so they can go to another company so they can wrestle. Either that, or you know what? I'm totally fine with them staying in NXT for their entire career, as long as they're getting paid.
They probably will.
As long as they move NXT to 2 hours.
Yeah, a 2-hour NXT show would make sense, especially with we got to go 3 hours Raw. They're talking about 3 hours SmackDown now, and it's like, whoa. Why don't we just add another hour of NXT there? And that probably would be the best option if you're going to add another hour. It probably would. Then we had some jobbers come out to take on Kairi Sane and Io Shirai. The jobbers were Amber Nova, I believe is her name, and then Tamia Brooks, which is apparently Rebel from Impact Wrestling, though you could have fooled me because she looks a lot different. A lot. She's gotten big. I don't even mean that as a negative thing. I was enjoying looking at her during the match. It was just so weird when I'm like, Tamia Brooks, I know that name from somewhere, and you hit it by Google and you realize, that's Rebel? What the hell? It's just weird.
Little did you know that she lied about her age, and she's secretly been wrestling since she was 12.
She's also 40, which I did not overly expect. So she probably will not be headed to the main roster at any point, and is NXT for life. Which is probably better, frankly.
For life.
In the end, Io Shirai and Kairi Sane went over, because, you have to. But, for a jobber match, it's pretty good. It was pretty entertaining, despite the fact you knew who was going to win the whole time.
Yeah, I enjoyed the action. Nobody screwed anything up, which, is a feat when we're talking about new female talent to NXT. So, yeah, no, I didn't
Well,
have this.
not new. We've seen Amber Nova on TV before. She faced off with she was the trucker hack chick who jobbed to Nikki Cross
Oh,
a little while ago. Did a pretty good job, actually. I remember us being generally positive on her performance.
yeah, I have vague recollections because now that you mentioned the hat, she was dressed up like some sort of mall cruising teenager or something, wasn't she?
That was the case, yes.
All right.
Then we had we had a quick horsewoman Japanese girl. Yeah, it was cringe. It was
Yeah.
I will to say some good things about the horsewoman. Marina Shafir has been better than I expected her to be. That does not make her good. Jessamine Duke has not killed anyone yet. That also does not make her good. That's what I got for niceness. We then have the Velveteen Dream versus Bobby Fish match. This was pretty good considering that Bobby Fish is clearly still working at probably somewhere around 80% as opposed to a full 100%. Major knee surgery will do that. You can see that in Impact with Rosemary when you see her come out and really hobble around like a cripple. Not nearly that bad here, but definitely Bobby Fish can do better, and it's pretty decent, pretty good match. I just have to go on about Velveteen Dream for a moment here. People are like talking about him like he's ready. You can't set his product up, main roster. I'm like, I like Velveteen Dream. If we go back to the NXT or the Toughen Up, pardon me, him and Mata, who's the big Egyptian motherfucker. They were the two that I was like, I want to see these two become wrestlers. They had the athletic ability, they had the physique, they had the intensity. Their promos were great. I was really, really disappointed when both of them got voted off the show, like tremendously, because at that point I had no interest. Anyone that I thought was going to make a good wrestler was gone. Now I was wrong on one because Mandy Rose made it all the way to the finals, and she's done a perfectly acceptable job, though I found her annoying on the show. And, I've been very interested to see him progress since then, and he has. He had a really amazing match with Aleister Black. But people tend to go with, like, he's the show stealer. Every takeover he's on, he steals the show. I'm like,
no.
He really doesn't, because there's better matches. Maybe he has the moment of the night at best, but even that's being generous. And his really good matches are with really, really good wrestlers. With Aleister Black, with Ricochet, with Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa. The best wrestlers in the company. Or at least the best wrestlers in NXT, depending on where you want to put AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, and company. I need to see him have really good matches with someone a cut below that. Because I remember not particularly caring for the Cassius Ohno match. Though, I will give him a pass on that because they were doing that weird boxer gimmick, which I'm going to chalk that up to. We had an idea, we put it out there, it didn't really come together. That's fair enough.
And that's what NXT is there for.
Mm-hmm. But,
I'm totally on board with everything you're saying. I disagree with anybody who says that he ever had a match of the night, especially on a takeover.
Him and Aleister Black I thought was the match of the night, but more towards Black than to Dream.
Oh yeah, that one was pretty good. But yeah, you're totally right. But I just he does not and has never consistently been. He's been consistently consistent. He's verging on being consistently good. But he's not the guy dictating the match. It's very much the other guy's match. And I hear it a lot from the Wrestle Talk guys, how incredible Velveteen Dream is. He's clearly the best wrestler in NXT, and he's clearly going to be he clearly will be a huge superstar, depending on where Vince decides to, when Vince realizes he's black and decides he needs to be a foreign heel. But he's not he needs another I would say, another 2 years in NXT before he's ready for the main roster. His personality's ready for the main roster right now, but his in-ring ability is not. And that's just the end of that story. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm hoping they don't bring him up because I think it would be too soon. And again, the track record of NXT guys going to the main roster has been so poor that I really need someone to be ready. And I was going to mention his Ethan Carter the third match was not very good. And while I'm not a massive Ethan Carter man, he's not, a top 10 wrestler in the world or anything. He's perfectly competent, can have a good match, and their match was not great. So there you go. We had the Ricochet Johnny Gargano confrontation, which I really liked because Ricochet was calling out Johnny, and Johnny comes out and is like, the old Johnny Gargano, he would charge the ring right now. He would try to make a statement by beating your ass, and he does exactly that, but talking until he's like 3 inches away from Ricochet. So brawl, Aleister Black and Ciampa show up. Evil DIY teasing. In the end, Johnny saves Ciampa from Black. And then Candice comes out and puts a wet blanket all over all of it, like, no, we are not doing this again. We are not doing this again. This is not you.
Yeah. I love that. There was one perfect moment right here during this where Gargano and Ciampa had got out of the ring, and they were both backing up towards the ramp side by side, and then they realized how close they were to each other, and there was this half of a second where both of their hands just barely moved towards the other guy, and it's like, and it was the perfect tease that he liked.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the road to Evil DIY. Well, assuming that's where we're going. They could swerve us on this.
One could assume.
And then we go into TakeOver Phoenix, which opened up with the War Raiders versus the Undisputed Era. The War Raiders had a big special entrance with, shield bearers and everything, and this was a really good idea, really not great execution. That's what that comes down to.
They had some cool bagpipe music playing, and the War Raiders come up out of the stage, and there's smoke everywhere, and these Viking warriors, one of which was Sarah Logan, by the way. And then the War Raiders get down in their pose, and then there's like a 3 or 4 second gap between them doing the thing and their music starts to play, like their actual theme music. And it's very clear that they should have had, as soon as they started emerging up onto the stage, their theme music should have played at that point. It was definitely a missed audio cue. If they planned it that way, they planned it wrong.
And particularly troubling because they took a long time to get up there. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Revisit this, stick a pin in it, and, maybe bring it out later on. This was a really, really good match. We had the early Pearl Harbor by the heels, of course, and Hanson destroying himself with a dive to the outside. So there you go. That let you do some 2-on-1 stuff. Ray Rowe was, I think, the MVP of this match, though it has to be said the Era guys, considering Roderick and Kyle O'Reilly really were kind of a thrown-together tag team. You get the sense that Bobby Fish's injury really is the only reason these guys are a tag team. They were amazing together. The timing, the duel, the chemistry, the ability to dual offense is amazing.
Well, they were both in ROH together for years, but I don't think they ever did a program together.
I can't recall them doing a program together.
Because, but I have to assume that they're still very familiar with each other.
Yeah, but I think Roddy more or less left the main event scene to go to NXT when O'Reilly was kind of rising to it. So
could be.
There wasn't as much crossover as we probably think.
Well, no, but I'm thinking the age is perfect for Roddy to have been at least some sort of a mentor, and that I'm assuming that at least a little bit of that happened. So they're probably way more familiar with each other than even we possibly know.
That's very true. But yeah, just fantastic work here. Great tag team match, and the War Raiders finally get the belts, hitting, what was it, Viking Fallout that they called the move?
Yeah, they did.
Not loving it, but okay. Yeah, they hit it on O'Reilly and got the win. And one of my favorite parts of the match was actually they were working over Roddy Strong at one point, the War Raiders, And Kyle O'Reilly, like 3 or 4 times, just comes flying in to try to break it up, and one of the War Raiders just throw him out. It was hilarious.
I said, "Good day, sir."
So get the hell out of here. That was pretty good. This was really solid match, and then we went into Matt Riddle versus Cassius Ohno. I was saying while we watched this match that this match felt like it really needed some kind of stipulation.
Well, you're right, but the other part of it is that at no point was Cassius Ohno ever in this feud. Like, they didn't give him a win even once at any point. So I don't know why they had this match other than to just.
Well, they gave him the win. They gave him the win over Keith Lee. I guess is his win.
But he had to cheat for that one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's the heel. That's
yeah,
fine.
But he's talking all this shit like, I'm going to break your new shiny toy. He didn't even get close.
Yeah, this was a rather poor executed feud. I mean, at the same time, I kind of wonder if I would like this feud if it was properly executed, because you want Matt Riddle to be hot. He's coming in as the shiny new toy, as Ohno has said. And do you really want him to have to take a loss to Ohno at this early stage? Maybe I guess what I'm saying is less of a shiny toy might have been better for this.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if they're going to move Chris Hero onto the main roster. Like, just do it. Maybe this is his exit.
To me, that's kind of what I would have done here. Is I would have had it be a loser leaves town match where he goes and debuts in the Rumble the next night, becomes a member of the roster, because you do have the whole is Lars Sullivan really here or whatever. So you do in theory have room for a call up that wasn't there before. And
yeah,
that might as well be Ohno.
There is word from Lars Sullivan. Apparently, he's got a media manager or somebody who helps him out with social media or something like that. And so the guy said, "I've heard from Lars. He's okay. Everything's all right." And just kind of that's about all we know.
Yeah, and this match got kind of greasy with Ohno like biting at the toes and stuff of Riddle. So that's good. It's good to work that in there. And at the end, Ohno tapped out to Crucifix Elbows, which I wasn't super into. Like, this is a match I think I'm more even than usual just mixed on, where it's like there's nothing wrong with the match in a vacuum.
No.
But considering the storyline leading into this and Ohno's character, it just felt like kind of a lamer ending and like one that had no real hype because Ohno's been so not in this feud.
Yeah. If you just if you haven't seen anything to do with this feud before and just watch this match, really good match, 100%, no question. But as part of, and I'm assuming this is the end of the feud, thank God. Please don't.
Yeah. Then we got a quick little thing with Velveteen Dream showing up with some lovely ladies and some, I'm assuming, attractive dudes. So he is Orlando Jordan. There we go.
Yeah, well, the weird thing is that they had the attractive dudes, I don't know, like at least 7 feet while following behind. So if they're bodyguards, they're doing it wrong. And if they're, part of the entourage, they're still doing it wrong. So it was a little confusing. I would have, if you're really going to go that way, have them pretty firmly committed. Like, have one dude on one arm and one chick on the other, and the other two following behind. Something like that.
That would definitely work a lot better.
Yeah, send at least a clear sort of a message. I know that misinformation and vagaries are the way that you're sort of going with Velveteen Dream, but commit to something.
We then had Johnny Gargano versus Ricochet for the North American title. This was a match that didn't really compare to the main event of Black and Ciampa in terms of emotional impact and investment, but the actual action was probably better. And I really enjoyed the early on counter spots actually that they did. That was fantastic. I really liked it.
Yeah, I would say this was match of the night, and Ciampa and Black coming in a pretty close second.
Yeah, 1A, 1B sort of deal. I think it depended a little bit on your mood, if you were looking for more the story aspect or the technical aspect, and just what you were more involved with. I think you could claim either one of these with the best match. But this was fantastic. You had Johnny Gargano going to the dark side. He pulls up the floor mats for DDT. Resisted for the time being. There was a P spot on the floor mats as well. That was pretty lovely. um, and but later on, he does hit the suplex on the floor, semi brainbuster, semi suplex, and then hits a slingshot DDT for the pinfall, and he is your new champion. Johnny Gargano finally has some gold.
But before he hit the slingshot DDT, he fucking looks straight in the camera and says, "I win," and then does the slingshot DDT and goes for the pin. It was fucking great.
It was amazing. There's not really anything I would change about this match, quite frankly.
No, not at all.
So there you go.
The costume. We were talking about the costume, and because he always comes out thematically, much like Rey Mysterio back in the day. But Gargano's better at it because his costume themes and color schemes mean something. So he used to come out as superhero style, and then he went a little bit dark side. So he came out as Venom, and I can't remember what the other one was. And he came out to this one in a special shiny dark red and yellow number, which I thought was a Borderlands because it looked like the Borderlands logo. And so this, was thematically Borderlands. He's on the borderline of which way is he going to go. But again, Luke Owen pointed out that it wasn't that. He was actually dressed up like Dark Phoenix.
But that also works reasonably well, too.
Yeah, only Dark Phoenix was definitely evil.
That's true. Well, then he's definitely evil, and at least by the end of the match, we have that confirmed.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, we kind of gotten that off of the go home show as well, to a degree. Then we had Bianca Belair versus Shayna Baszler.
Meh.
There was nothing.
It was fine.
Yeah, there was nothing inherently wrong with the match. It was probably better than I expected it to be. Baszler retains the title.
Which I'm good with.
Bianca Belair's winning streak is over. I don't have a lot of positives to say about the match. I don't necessarily have a lot of negatives to say about the match, but it kind of... And it just fits into my standard theme that Bianca Belair is not ready. And people are claiming that she is.
Yeah, she's not ready, clearly. And I don't know how much more training she needs to be ready. I don't know. Maybe she'll have that one of these days like, oh, I get it. I get what I'm missing. And things will happen. But in and of itself, nothing wrong with the match. Didn't really have any problems. I'm not really sure why I'm supposed to believe Shayna Baszler's badass anymore. When she started out, she was badass, but now she has stooges, so she's no longer badass. That's the end of that road.
Yeah, the character has some significant problems. Like, you just look at the content of her promos. I go back to that one where she was like, someone has to have the balls to fight me. I'm like, they all have the balls to fight you. You're the one that's using, hired help, so to speak. And and again, you have the... this is the thing, is I don't even think that, like, anyone who has the title can really even use that angle. It's like, you don't have the balls to fight me. I'm like, they're challenging you for the title. Yeah, so they clearly do. I mean, you can, like, work in, like, they're afraid of you in ways, but they don't want to fight you. There seems to be, like, everyone going for your titles, so that's kind of a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of worked with Dakota Kai, I guess, but that was really it.
Yeah, well, and the only other people that did that in any way correct was Lucha Underground, when they had Mil Muertes as the champion, the very first champion, and really nobody did want any. Nobody was saying, I want to face him for the title. No one was saying that.
Yeah.
So they did that right, but they've never, like, well, I'm supposed to be scared of Brock Lesnar. He's like the wrong side of 40 and has bitch tits and a giant gut now. Come on.
I mean, Lesnar is still pretty intimidating, but at some point you've got to transition this to, I don't know, something else in regards to Lesnar. And in regards to Baszler, you just need to figure out how to actually use her, because... Yeah,
well, they did. Yeah. They knew exactly how to do it. They did it perfect.
Yeah, but they went too far down that rabbit hole while incorporating all these heel elements, and it's just not actually working. She's still having good matches, and thankfully there was no Jessamine Duke or Marina Shafir interference here, so that was good.
Yeah, it was fine. There's nothing like I can't talk shit about this match. It was just it fell between two fantastic matches. And I know why they put it here because you can't have. The only thing they could have done was to have this as the third match instead of the fourth match, but then you don't have any kind of break between Gargano and Ciampa's matches, and I think you do need that. So
Absolutely.
then you play the politic game of like, well, okay, well, do you stick Cassius Ohno and Matt Riddle in the middle there? Because that's definitely going to be a different kind of flavor you're not going to see. But then you have the women's champions as the second match. That's not a good look. You can't really do that. So it's kind of an impossible situation. The only way this could have been done, well, I mean, you could have just not had Bianca Belair in the match, and they probably would have had a better match. That's unfortunately that's what that is. She's just not as talented as Io Shirai or Kairi Sane or Nikki Cross, who is kind of on the main roster now, or Dakota Kai. I think Dakota Kai, their match she
Well,
had.
Dakota Kai
great.
is injured right now, so she wouldn't have been an option.
Yeah, fair enough. But they do have very talented Candice LeRae. You can't tell me the Candice LeRae match here wouldn't be great.
The problem is that Candice LeRae, like it or not, WWE views her as just an accentuation to the DIY stuff. That's all it is.
But how great would it be if Gargano, Candice LeRae, and Ciampa all held titles as of yesterday?
It would be fantastic.
How could that be in any way, shape, or form a bad thing? You have a super stupendously babyfaced lady as your champion, stuck between an evil bastard who's corrupting her husband, and all she wants is to get him out of that situation. Book it from there. Go, go, go. And they're all champions. So they're all trying to hold on to their titles while dealing with this shit.
Yeah, I mean, the problem is you would have had to go back to day one and change how they've been booking LeRae this whole time.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
It's just, somebody should have had at least that much foresight. Just, oh, we've got a third member of this, and there's a third title we can throw into the picture. You're telling me nobody thought about that 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 9 months ago?
Nobody did.
I don't understand.
Then we had our main event, Aleister Black challenging NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa. This was, I will say one negative thing about it. There was a little bit of that, what we call the New Japan syndrome, where
there's a couple finishers.
There were some things that really should have been the finish. Like we had multiple black masses and multiple fairy tale endings. So that would be my one gripe. But the tone of the match, the psychology of the match, the action itself, fantastic. Great work. 5 stars. Easy. No doubt. Remotely.
Oh, yeah.
We got the revisit of the exposed floor as well. Still with the Peace Stain.
Peace Stain Plex!
And we got to the end eventually. You had Ciampa hit a fairy tale ending, having had one kicked out of prior to this, like directly prior. Goes for a third. Aleister Black briefly escapes, tries to do Black Mass, but his injured knee, which had been worked over at this point, doesn't let him do it. And then we get the fairy tale ending again for the 3, and Ciampa still has Goldie. Goes up to the entranceway. Gargano comes out with his belt, and they pose for the crowd.
Heck yeah. And then there's a fracas that they didn't put on the broadcast.
Yeah, with Dream getting involved and Ricochet and yeah,
Adam Cole,
baby. Oh yeah, you now have a customer named Adam Cole, so there you go.
I did, yeah.
But this was a really good show. The only kind of letdown, and it probably wouldn't have been a letdown if the rest of the card wasn't so good, was the Belair-Baszler match.
Yeah, in a vacuum, there's nothing wrong with that match. I didn't have an issue. Belair didn't do anything wrong. The timing was pretty great. Everybody got their shit in. No issues. It's just that you fell between 2 fan-goddamn-tastic matches.
Yeah, I mean, you've got...
You should have known that.
You've got, I would say, 3 possible 5-star matches on this card. I don't think Riddle and Ono quite makes the 5. I'd put that as like a 4.5, 4.75.
I'm pretty sure only 2, but you never know.
No, like War Raiders versus Air, I'd probably put it 4.75. But I could see that as a 5-star match as well.
Yeah, I would not be sad.
And Gargano, Ricochet, and Black Ciampa are absolutely 5 stars. So there you go. All right, to the Royal Rumble we go.
The embroiled marimba.
Just a couple of things to lead in. I was kind of actually looking forward to this Rumble a little bit more than I have in past years. There wasn't quite as telegraphed a winner as we've been used to. So that's good. That's nice. The quality of the card around it was actually pretty solid. There was only one match that I wasn't really in any way looking forward to, and even that was actually pretty good. So there you go. Yeah, and of course the Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view, so that's
fine too. It is the best.
So I didn't see the pre-show, so you'll have to take us through the pre-show.
I watched every single goddamn match on here except for part of the Bryan AJ Styles match because I went on a beer soiree. I ran out of the alcohol, needed more, and I didn't know how long the whole goddamn shoot match was going to be, and it turned out longer. So we had an impromptu. It felt that like they just threw this thing together in 18 seconds before the match happened. So we had Bobby Roode and Chad Gable against Razar and Scott Dawson with Drake Maverick. Why this happened, I don't know. This was not for the titles. So what they said the stipulation was that if Razar and Scott Dawson won, then they'd have considerations for future title shots. So which tag team would get future considerations, I don't know.
So just to briefly back up on that. So it was a regular match then? Because does not winning a tag match in general equal considerations towards the next title shot?
One could only hope.
So stipulation is bullshit.
Yeah, and also the tag champs won, so there was no reason to have this stipulation in the fucking first place. Pardon me while I reach for another drink. And so that happened. Bobby Roode and Chad Gable won. They're both dressed up like Bobby Roode now, and they're both doing the glorious thing. And Chad Gable might be better Bobby Roode than Bobby Roode. So
it's not surprising. Chad Gable is worth so much, and I don't know why WWE doesn't see it.
I have no idea. They really thought that Jason Jordan was going to be the guy.
This man is Kurt Angle 2.0. For the love of God, strap the rocket to him.
I just need more shoosh in my life.
At least give him, like, I don't know, the 205 Live title or something. Jesus.
Yeah. And then after that, kind of weird. It was a good match. Like, nothing wrong with it. But it was just weirdly stipulated and set up, and there's no reason to have, like, why wouldn't you have the Revival wrestle instead of Razar and Scott Dawson? Because Dash Wilder's kicking around.
Was Dash maybe injured or something? I don't know.
Like, Akam's definitely injured. He's out.
Yeah, okay. So we know Akam's injured. Maybe Dash is injured, and we're just not really tremendously aware of it.
Maybe. Yeah, it could be. It's like, oh, I'm kind of fucked up tonight. Why don't you just take Razar out there and do a thing? I don't know, maybe. But the match was good. Definitely worth watching. We had Shinsuke Nakamura against Rusev for the United States Championship. This was not good because they didn't really let him wrestle. This was a match about Lana, and then Lana got involved, sort of. Lana saw Nakamura doing. Brain, come on, Brain. A Yano. He was doing a Yano. He was unlacing the turnbuckle pad. And Lana gets up on the apron and is like, he's cheating! He's cheating! He's cheating! And the ref, of course, being dumb ref, goes over to say, just stand in front of her stupidly going, you can't be up on the apron. You can't be up on the apron. You can't be up here. And just ignoring the fact that she's screaming that Nakamura is cheating. And it was the dumbest fucking shit show I'd seen since the last time I watched Main Roster.
Rusev is going down the Mark Marrow path of his woman is being way more the story than him, which It didn't go well for Mark Marrow, put it that way.
No, my hope is that Rusev gets to the end of his contract and goes to AEW. That's what I desperately want.
Yeah.
So
there have been times when Rusev has been utilized well. I enjoyed his feud back in the day with John Cena, for example, that led to the flag match. Didn't enjoy the flag match itself because, come on, the American's going to win the flag match. But
yeah.
But
at WrestleMania, come on.
Yeah, but a lot of that was actually very well done and very high quality matches and so on. But yeah, since Lana kind of, I don't want to say failed her singles push because frankly,
WWE failed that.
They failed her. It's become it's just we're back to where he was when he was feuding with Enzo Amore. This is not it's not a great look.
No. So after Nakamura unlaces the turnbuckle, he goes over and kind of gently maneuvers the ref out of the way so that he doesn't eat a spot. So Rusev charges at Nakamura, and then Nakamura moves, and then he blasts Lana off the apron and damaging her leg, air quotes, which will play into things later. And foreshadowing! And then, I can't remember. I think Nakamura hit him with like a Kinshasa and then got the win. Because he was all distractified. He was like, no, my baby, I hurt my baby. So that was garbage. And then we had a fatal four-way of Buddy Murphy, Akira Tozawa, Hideo Itami, and Kalisto for the Cruiserweight Championship. And this was fun. They did a bunch of crazy loopy-loopy spots. There was some flippy shit, which was good. There was a particular spot where Kalisto was flat on his back on the apron. Can't remember why. And Itami did a runner at him and then got monkey flipped into the air by Kalisto using his legs as a launching pad. And then Tozawa basically did a tope con hio off of the apron from monkey flip position onto Buddy Murphy. It was great. And there were many other things that happened, none of which I particularly remember. It wasn't a bad match at all. It's just that, as with everything else, Vince doesn't want the cruiserweights to get over, so he keeps the title on Buddy Murphy, who got the win. And I don't know why. He doesn't really have a character. He's just an angry guy with an accent.
I admittedly would now I want to be clear here. If I was dropped in and it's like, all right, you got to book this match, but you've not gotten to book anything leading up to this, I would also have kept the belt on Buddy because Tozawa, Hitami, and Kalisto all need, I think, more repair due to, frankly, especially Tozawa getting botched on the pushing hardcore.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, ugh. 205 Live, and I think also 205 Live needs some new blood in the main event scene. So I would keep it on Buddy. I would book him as a semi-dominant champion. I would give him some character because he's just mad for no real reason.
Is he mad at his accent? Is that what it is? Is that his gimmick?
They gave him the weight cutting gimmick when he came in, which was handled poorly.
Yeah, the math did not add up.
And then not so much the math did not add up, just how that's not how weight cutting works. Which I mean is fine if your fans are not into not into MMA, kickboxing, or boxing or wrestling, but chances are a large segment of your fan base is into kickboxing, boxing, wrestling, and mixed martial arts. So they have a rough idea of how this whole weight cutting thing is supposed to work.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would figure out some way to give him a character, give him a bit of a relatively dominant run with the 205 title, figure out who you want to build into the guy to take that title off of him, and make a star that way. That's how I would do it. And I don't think Kalisto's that guy, period. I actually don't really think Itami is that guy. And I love Kenta, don't get me wrong, but I think within the WWE confines, I don't think Hideo Itami is long-term champion material because you're not going to let him work to the full extent of his abilities, and you're going to make him work with guys he might actually end up injuring. So I wouldn't go that way. Tozawa definitely would work, but I need 4 months to rehabilitate Tozawa to the point where he's back to where he was on the Brian Kendrick feud. And if I do that, Tozawa champion works perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think if you put the belt on him, he no problems. Like, he could run with that with zero issue. But yeah, if you want like an actual storyline, you're gonna need to try and make one, which would be good. Little effort there, boys.
And then we opened up the actual pay-per-view with Asuka versus Becky Lynch, which I like putting Asuka over in this match because foreshadowing what it leads to later. You were not keen on Asuka winning, if memory serves. You just wanted the Becky win.
They accidentally put the title on a botched Asuka like a month ago. And
yeah, no, the Asuka's main roster run started actually really well, but has gone way off the rails. Like,
God. Yeah. So they accidentally put the title on Asuka, and Becky Lynch, being the female Stone Cold circa 1997 or 1996. Why are you taking the belt off of the clearly the most popular female wrestler in the world? Maybe the most popular wrestler in the world right now.
I think the answer to that is kind of simple. They're angling. They need to get to Becky Lynch versus Ronda, and to do that, you got to take the belt off of one of them, which if you're going to take the belt off one of them, Becky is your better option.
Yeah, and at least they did it in a three-way match where Becky didn't lose the belt, but somebody else just happened to get the belt. I understand all that. But why wouldn't you want your title on? Well, and then it feeds into the whole speculation about Ronda. Did she sign a 1-year contract? Did she sign a 3-year contract? No one knows. Ric Flair said it was a 1-year contract. So could potentially Ronda Rousey's out of here as of the end of WrestleMania. So I understand that you want to put Ronda Rousey over as the most legit thing in the world, period, by giving her the big win over super popular Becky Lynch, which no one's going to want and everybody's going to hate, and you're going to have Roman Reigns all over again, you fucking morons. But
it's kind of the weird thing is because they started off actually handling Ronda quite well, but almost like Asuka to a degree, it's gone off the rails. Not as bad as Asuka, mind you, but it's gone off the rails.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just They legit just don't know how to calculate. It's very strange. They need to basically hire some sort of psychologist to sit in the back of these meetings and go, yeah, but people don't think like that.
Well, I think the problem is that, I'm looking... I was not a big fan of Ronda Rousey through MMA because I saw the holes in her game. I knew it would take her to a title because it's a super shallow, at the time, women's bantamweight division, but once the division developed a one-trick pony like Ronda, who's just, more athletic than her opponents generally, and a good judo player, was at some point going to run into problems. I mean, just evolution of the game. And the problem was that she was with a camp that didn't know how... If you looked at the male fighters who came into her camp, they all regressed, so there was no hope that this camp would round her out and make her a really long-term star. I did not foresee her getting beaten once and then kind of falling to pieces, but it's okay. Because I thought, she's an Olympic in judo. I mean, she's lost before.
Yeah,
should be able to handle this, but apparently not. And they bring her into WWE, and they keep going away from what people liked and what made her a star in MMA, which is exceedingly confusing because, with Asuka, okay, the blueprints from NXT, that's a bit of a different audience, whatever. But with Ronda, the blueprint was it was there.
You take her out and you make her win, and that's it.
And you didn't really, she wins, so they did that part. But the character work has been terrible.
You basically, she's Goldberg. Do Goldberg. The Goldberg thing. Do that.
More or less.
Easy done, and they didn't. Everything. Oh, she's new to wrestling. Everything's got to be competitive. Why are we having a competitive match with fucking Carmella?
Yeah, well, the
Jesus.
competitive match with Stephanie McMahon was more my problem, but I mean,
Yeah, well,
it's
basically
Stephanie.
anybody. Like, why just no
Like,
one gets a competitive match? She's a destroyer. She wins. You make, and everybody makes money.
according to WWE, in her 40s, I believe she's in her 40s, Stephanie McMahon? Is she?
Oh, yeah.
Am I wrong on that? In her 40s, Stephanie McMahon, who's not even a full-time pro wrestler, has better submission defense than 90% of the women's 135-pound division.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. But yeah, Asuka gets the belt, or gets to keep the belt here. I'm fine with that. It guarantees her something at Mania, which is nice. You could go to Charlotte and her again. That could be fun.
For the record, I am completely 100% fine with Asuka as champion. Fine, but it's over a year too late. So fucking retards. Jesus Christ.
I've said this before that, like, I'm not in this camp of, like, people like Asuka can't lose. Because, I mean, much like people have said about Goldberg over the years, if you can't absorb a loss, then you're not really a star. And that is true. Asuka had to lose at some point. But Asuka's loss should have meant something.
Asuka's loss should have made someone's entire career.
And it didn't, because she lost to Charlotte, who then lost to the cashing in Carmella, who then also beat Asuka. Like, that's the problem. It's not that she lost. It's like, all right, she lost. You've got this burning white hot thing, and because Charlotte's breast had ruptured, which you knew about beforehand, you're not really going to cash in on that. So
they knew a month. They knew a month ahead of time that Charlotte had ruptured an implant and she was going to have surgery to correct it. So a month ahead of time, they booked Asuka to lose to somebody they knew was going to lose to somebody else. So you dropped the ball to drop the ball, and then they dropped the ball so hard it shattered half of Africa. No racist. Because they then put her into a program against Carmella, who she lost clean to like 4 times on pay-per-view. What a fucking trash fired. What's wrong with you fucking people? What is the problem?
Problem was they thought they had something in Carmella, and I don't know what they thought they had in Carmella.
Dude, just Carmella, unfortunately, has no fucking wrestling talent. I'm sorry, that's what that is. So they got this hot chick who can sell stuff. So they think that the only way that they're going to get their money's worth out of Carmella is to put her in front of people as much as possible and acquire money via selling whatever it is Carmella looks good in. Which is fine, but you don't need a goddamn title around the worst female wrestler on your roster's waist to do it.
Yeah, about sums up the entirety of the problem. Then we had Miz and Sheamus, or Miz and Shane McMahon versus Cesaro and Sheamus for the SmackDown Tag Team titles.
Sheamus McMahon.
Stunningly, I think this is the first time McMahon has actually won the tag team belt. We were talking about that. That seems weird, because you'd think Vince at some point would have booked himself to have, like, him and Big Show or something as tag team champions.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. It's like, I'm going to hide behind the Big Show and you're all going to suck dick for like 2 years straight.
Yeah, it's like, it's the super easy way to get, belts on, which, by the way, Stephanie McMahon will at some point win the women's tag team title.
She's going to be, she's going to be the inaugural champion, not even with a partner. She's just going to walk in and slap, Asuka in the face, and Asuka's going to go unconscious, and then she's going to roll her up and then hold the titles by herself for 3 years. Because she invented women.
It is the greatest finisher in wrestling, the bitch slap of Stephanie McMahon. No one gets their comeuppance from it.
Yeah.
This was a pretty fine match. This was actually one of the best matches I've seen Miz have, which is both sad and impressive, I suppose. I think I said it when he threw one of his early on kicks, and then I'm like, oh my god, that looked like a proper kick. It just took him 20 years to figure out how to throw it. Oh my god. I'm fine with Shane and Miz having the belt for a bit. Please don't let this be long term. That's just all I have to say.
Unless I get to see Shane McMahon hurl himself off of like whole buildings every week.
Which you won't. And really should not.
It'll be fine.
Ronda Rousey, Sasha Banks. This was good, but a little bit botch heavy because you got Ronda, who's still, fairly green in terms of pro wrestling. Granted, she's got a great judo background, great MMA background, so it masks a lot of it. But there are some things that she's not fantastic at this time. And Sasha Banks, who I've kind of described as the best underachieving worker you can think of, because I think, if I were to rank the women wrestlers in the WWE based on potential, how good of a match they are capable of having, I would go Asuka, Becky, Ruby Riott, Charlotte, and then Sasha. So she's number 5 on my list. But that would involve her, to borrow from Letterkenny, taking 10 to 15% off.
Please don't kill yourself on every tope.
Yeah, just slow it down a little bit, because it's and I say this is the guy who loves pace. I will complain about slow-paced matches all day long and not really enjoying watching them. But there's slow-paced, and then there's right-paced, and then there's you're going a little bit too fast for your own good. And that's where Sasha has been kind of her own whole career. The maybe exception was the Bayley feud in NXT. That was probably the right speed. But and this was another match where it kind of did that. Little too fast for your own good. She did the job here. She made the 4 horsewomen sign when they were kind of facing off at the end. So, it's I am not looking forward to the 4 horsewomen thing, because half of the MMA 4 horsewomen are not good.
Yeah. Well, and
I mean both in pro wrestling and MMA.
They're all feuding against each other. The wrestling 4 horsewomen aren't a faction, have never been a faction. There's zero reason for this to be a faction thing. We know that they're friends. That's all anybody knows. They've never been partners other than Sasha and Bayley. Becky
Charlotte and Becky had a thing for a while. Charlotte and Becky had a thing for a while.
Becky Lynch and Charlotte are feuding. Becky's pretty much feuding with the world right now. There's no way that a Becky Lynch character would ever accept help from people, because she won't, and neither would a Charlotte Flair type character.
Neither would Sasha.
Exactly, and
the only one that might
feuded with everybody else.
Yeah, the only one that might actually accept the help is Bayley.
Yeah, I don't get it. I don't think how they. So you're going to set up a bunch of completely untrained Malooks up against some professionally trained pro wrestler ladies, and it's supposed to work even though nobody's a faction? Great. Simply fantastic.
Yeah, I'm not really down on this whole concept, because I'm sorry, this would be like if some NFL football players back in the 90s started calling themselves the 4 Horsemen or something, like 4 linebackers off the Pittsburgh Steelers or something, in a 3-4 defense. 4 Horsemen of destruction of football.
Rawr. And
we manufacture a feud out of that with Ric Flair and company. You wouldn't have done it. And you shouldn't do it here. Baszler's turning into a very competent pro wrestler, quite possibly top 10 in your company. Ronda Rousey is a top 10 wrestler in your company and a massive draw. Duke and Shafir are not remotely ready, so don't tease this until they are, I guess. And if you're going to do this, then you kind of have to work your bookings so that Becky and Charlotte aren't feuding with each other and Sasha isn't a massive bitch.
Yeah, that'd be good. It'd be totally good.
Anyways, then we go into the Women's Royal Rumble, and basically what we're going to do is we're just going to go down who entered, and then talk about their stay in the Rumble is just kind of an easy way of doing that. So, on the Women's Rumble, we had debutante. Her first match on the main roster, Lacey Evans at first.
The debutante.
Lacey got a lot of time in this match. She was in here for about 30 minutes. She scored a pair of eliminations of the Iconics, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce, so that I have to give her favorable coverage for the time being, because I hate those two.
They are bad.
With a burning passion. They're really not good. And I know
They have supreme go away heat. Like no one wants to hear you talk.
People have been trying to convince me that they're good, and I'm just like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I'm sorry.
Nope.
And I'm not even sorry, but I don't get it. Eventually she did get eliminated by Charlotte Flair. No shame there. A pretty solid outing from Lacey Evans, I think, all told. I think this is a kind of match that, again, like, I like Lacey Evans. I want her to be successful. I think she has a great backstory. I think she has great potential character. They've just been really bad about it. So I don't know. Maybe the main roster will be better for her than NXT, but that's just because I can't really think of how it could be worse.
Yeah, she's got the personality to carry whatever character they finally goddamn well decide to settle on, but it can't be this one, because this one's bad. Are we the 80s now where all wrestlers have to have professions? When's the mechanic wrestler showing up?
Well, it's not so much she has a profession, it's like she's a proper Southern belle, but she's rude. She's
the dumb bitch you don't want to talk to at your job because you know she's going to want to talk to the manager. Nobody cares. You just... And no one's going to... That's not a heel character. That's a go-away X-Pac character.
We also had our Iron Woman, Natty Neidhart, start this off. She lasted almost a full hour, 56 minutes and 1 second. She scored eliminations of Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan, with the assistance of Kairi Sane on the last one. A solid but unspectacular match from Natty, basically. Wasn't really front and center for anything outside of her feud with the Riot Squad.
Yeah, she was there to take some moves from some people, and she was in there for a long time. That's unfortunately the story of that match.
We had Liv Morgan in next. She lasted all of 8 seconds. Not really anything to talk about there. Just got eliminated by Natalya.
I was disappointed.
Mickie James in next, lasted 11 minutes 38 seconds, eliminated by Tamina. A disappointing outing for Mickie James. I want Mickie James to get her due. Something that is, frankly, just not been given to her for forever.
Yeah, she needs to... They need to put one of the titles on her just as a respect thing.
Ember Moon was number 6. She was also a very Iron Woman in this one, going 52 plus minutes. Eventually was eliminated by Alexa Bliss. Had no eliminations in 52 minutes, though.
Weird. I don't remember her in the match, other than at some point somebody was standing on her head, I think.
She had a pretty cool spot where she saved herself on the bottom rope with her feet. That was kind of new. Kind of neat. But like kind of like Natty, which I mean I guess is kind of a problem with the Iron Woman spot, is that you do have to conserve energy or whatever because you are wrestling for, the better part of an hour. Not a lot of particular stuff. We get to Billie Kay, who did the I'm not actually entering the Rumble bit, and then eventually got eliminated by Lacey Evans and attacked by Nikki Cross. So yeah, there you go.
Yep.
Whatever. The only thing weird about the Iconics, and I'll basically loop Peyton Royce at this because she had this, the same storyline here and came in at number 9. They did a kick spot with Billie Kay doing the holding and not the kicking. That's just dumb. Billie Kay is good at one thing: kicking.
Correct. It's her only talent. That and having a giant fat head.
Nikki Cross. They did apparently eliminate someone.
Yeah, Nikki Cross.
Yeah, Nikki Cross. Right.
What the fuck? That's supposed to be the other way around, you morons.
Yeah. They did that also a lot. And again, like, here's the thing: if it's not against the rules for people not in the Rumble to eliminate people, which we got later on with the Riot Squad, which we'll talk about, and we got here.
The fucking rules, right?
Why don't the heels just always do that? Like, why didn't Evolution back in the day just come out and be like, okay, we're going to surround the ring. There's nothing you can really do about it, because apparently there's no rules against this.
Yeah.
We're just going to dump people out. Like, that's kind of thing is, like, either this has to be against the rules, or there has to be something that prevents the frickin' heels from doing it.
Yeah, there has to be, like, a time limit to enter the ring. They
have to outsmart the system somehow, but right now it's like the system just doesn't exist. It's referees saying, no, you gotta go to the back, but there's no penalty. It's not like next night on Raw, it's like, Billie Kay and Peyton Royce have been suspended without pay for being fucking bitches. Or Riot Squad is suspended without pay for coming to the ring when they'd already been eliminated. Like, it's never there, so it just kills the gimmick, frankly, because the gimmick makes no sense when you have no negative consequences. The heels don't have to be sneaky. What the hell?
Yeah, there should be some sort of like time limit. Like if you're not in the ring before the next person comes out, then you're just eliminated automatically.
We basically covered Nikki Cross's entrance. She fought with the Iconics and got eliminated by them. There we go. We had Tamina, who came out, got one elimination, which was Mickie James, and got eliminated by Charlotte. And for a match kind of built for a big girl, they really didn't do much with Tamina, which is the story. Which is the story of her career. Next up was actually one of the more impressive entrants in the Rumble, but someone who shouldn't have been there, Xia Li from NXT, Chinese lady. Very impressive. I want to see more of her, but I had seen her in the Mae Young Classic. You have not, because you did not watch it, and you made the point that not a lot of people do. Yep. So you have someone making... This is kind of like when Babatunde came out for the Greatest Royal Rumble. It's just like, this is not someone we've remotely seen, and this is probably a problem. And it's going to come up later with Casey, what's her name?
Nice head.
Catanzaro. Catanzaro's the name. Just kind of exposes the lack of depth in the division that you have two people who have not been shown on TV in this match.
Now, you're not wrong, but I would like to state for the record that they've done the right thing here and not get a bunch of old people back. I'm just kidding, not old people, but, quote unquote, legends. There were no legends in this match.
I'm not against the legends being in this match.
As long as they work.
Well, my problem with the legends they chose for the first Rumble, the girls like Michelle McCool and stuff, was... This is supposed to be about the evolution of the women's division to seriousness. So you should not bring back any women who led to the non-seriousness of it, that worked against, in a nutshell, equal rights. And
this is not a match for Sable.
I include a Sable or a Michelle McCool, who got a lot of eliminations because she's married to The Undertaker.
Tori
Wilson, Stacy Keibler. Dawn Marie, even. Like, these are not women that you would bring back because they represent what you're supposed to be moving away from. You shouldn't be glorifying that. Now, if you want to bring back Molly Holly, Molly represents kind of, to be honest, a forerunner of this evolution. She
was the only female wrestler they had for a while.
You want to bring in Jazz. That's fine. You want to bring in Trish Stratus and Lita. Granted, Trish really started as the counter where we are trying to go to, but she became a big star and to a degree led to this whole thing. It's kind of like the whole Nikki Bella gets to main event, or I don't know if she main evented, but like gets one of the late matches on the Evolution card. It's like, this is what we're supposed to be evolving away from. Yeah. So that's a tone deaf selection. And I don't even hate Nikki. I think she's a perfectly acceptable wrestler. But definitely got a lot of her fame because of who she was boinking, like it or not. That's not her fault. That's how the system works. Sarah Logan came out, got eliminated by Natty and Kairi Sane, like we kind of said. Didn't really do anything, which is a shame because she had a really good first Royal Rumble. Charlotte was next in. She was our big elimination girl on the night. She eliminated 4 women. I will give you the full list. She took out Lacey Evans, which we talked about already. She took out Tamina, which we talked about already. And she would also pick up eliminations of Carmella and Xia Li, which we talked about already as well. Charlotte made the final 2, and we're not going to talk about her final fate because we have a little bit of surprise later on.
Dun-dun.
Kairi Sane out next. She got eliminated by Ruby Riott when the as we kind of stated, the Riot Squad came back and just healed it up and pulled people out of the ring. So dumb. Maria Kanellis came out, and why God was she in this match?
They needed somebody.
You have... Fuck, I would take like a Vanessa Bourne or something over this.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you've got stuff. Pull up more NXT girls. Like,
well, there's probably a reason behind that, and that is that apparently the Canella sisters had asked for their release. So you'll notice that people that asking for their release, A, are getting more money, and B, are getting pushed. So everybody in WWE, please ask for your release immediately.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know if that's a good business move, because it's like, even people who have no intention of going to AEW, like, yeah, no, I want my release.
Yeah, they're even paying office staff. They're boosting the pay rate for office staff 50%.
Wow.
And they're doubling any contract for anybody who says that they're going to go to AEW, double on the spot.
This is not a great business plan. Anyways, next in was Naomi. She got eliminated by Mandy Rose, which makes sense. And she also eliminated Mandy Rose. And this was another example of, like, she eliminated Mandy Rose, and then Mandy Rose eliminated her because heels can get away with whatever. Yay. Naomi did try to do her spot to save herself. Can we stop doing these unless you have good...
It's so bad.
Unless you have good... Like, the thing is, it's become the gimmick of the match. It's like, we were kind of arguing about it because you're very down on the Kofi spots. And
they're so bad.
I enjoyed them for the first 3 to 4 years he did them. Like, they were good. But now they're doing, like, different shit constantly.
Yeah.
That's not very good.
Well, I don't want to be the hipster, but I liked Kofi Kingston back when he was Shelton Benjamin. Because he already did all those fucking spots. I don't, he didn't do the thing where he put one foot on the pancakes. That's because he has self-respect.
That's because it's a stupid spot. Yeah. Candice LeRae came out next. Got eliminated by Ruby Riott during, again, Riott Squad attack. Same with Alicia Fox. Alicia Fox did get an elimination at least. She took out Maria Kanellis. Got her dumb hat stomped on. Yay. Casey Catanzaro was out next. She got eliminated by Rhea Ripley, but had a pretty good showing. She's tiny. God damn it. 90 pounds.
Yeah.
Oh. I really like her. She's a very good worker, actually. Former gymnast and stuff. But I have the question of, can I take a 90-pound girl seriously? It's going to be a hurdle that at some point I hope NXT does ask me the question if I can buy it. We will see. Zelina Vega came out. She just wound up being fodder for the Hornswoggle spot where she goes under the ring and Horny's there, and yeah, she gets chased by the midget.
Yeah, that was the dumbest fucking thing in the world. Please fucking stop.
There were 3 women, and I want to make this kind of clear that I'm not even blaming the women here. This is how they were booked. But Maria Kanellis, Alicia Fox, and Zelina Vega were WWE going back to their 90s / early 2000s booking. They were, in the case of Maria Kanellis and Alicia Fox, they were just crazy bitches for no apparent reason. And not like a Nikki Cross crazy. Like, just, like, crazy drama diva, everything that was wrong with the women's division 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And you have Zelina Vega just there to get Hornswoggle on the show and be a horny fucker. Like, that all of that needed to go away and not even be brought up.
Yeah, it was very bad. Because every 2 minutes, not even, I think it's like every single minute, they'd pan back to the camera on Zelina Vega's side of the ring. The only one that didn't have an LED panel, because I brought that up earlier. How are you going to hide people into the ring?
No, they have LED panels on 2 sides and not LEDs on 2 sides.
No, well, I didn't notice. I only saw one. Every single minute they go back to that camera side, and Zelina Vega stakes her head out, twirls her thick ass mustache, waggles her top hat, and goes ha 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 into the camera, and then goes back onto the ring. And I wanted to fucking take a giant dump right there.
Ruby Riott was the next in. She brought the Riott Squad with, as stated, eliminated Candice LeRae, Alicia Fox, and Maria Kanellis. Or not Maria Kanellis. Who was her other elimination? Kairi Sane. Yeah. we've gone over that pretty much. Dana Brooke came out. She got eliminated by Rhea Ripley. Did some cool stuff. I would like them to do more with Dana Brooke. I understand that her run with Charlotte was terrible, and they brought her up way too soon. And the problem is that if you're gonna keep her, you might as well try to develop something with her. She is she is very athletic, very strong. Like, there are things you can do with this girl. And they've really failed to figure out if they're going to do anything with her.
Yeah, I mean, she's physically gifted. She's in shape as fuck. She can lift a lot of weight. And she's got great personality. She comes through on the camera. She needs more experience. And all they do is they have her do shit like this, where she might get one match every 5 months, and she's there to lose, and and you get 6 minutes every 5 months to try to develop your character and your skills in the ring. It's not going to happen. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to do anything with her the way that you're doing it, so you might as well release her or do something with her. There's your answer.
Mm-hmm.
Io Shirai and next just basically there to get eliminated by Nia Jax. Rhea Ripley came in, actually got put over pretty fucking strong. She got the 3 eliminations that we talked about already, and was definitely a monster. So good ups on WWE for that. Sonya Deville had a pretty short stay in the Rumble, getting eliminated by Alexa Bliss. Speaking of Alexa Bliss, she was at a 26 and had a reasonably lengthy stay. Eliminated by Bayley and Carmella. Bayley got eliminated by Nia Jax. She was number 27. Number 28 was Lana, but she was, of course, injured. So she's hobbling to the ring. She can't make it. Nia Jax attacks her. And this sets up Becky Lynch to come out and take the spot and make Finlay the biggest babyface in the building.
Yeah.
Anyways, Becky goes on. She gets the last 2 eliminations of the Rumble, of course, eliminating Charlotte and Nia Jax to win it. Carmella was number 30, as we knew. Carmella got an elimination, but it was Alexa Bliss, so I don't really care. Not great. I forgave them last year for having a pretty weak Women's Royal Rumble because they brought in a bunch of, all old-timers who really... frankly couldn't wrestle then and certainly can't wrestle now. And they didn't do that this year, but they did bring out 2 people who had never been on TV. They did bring out Maria Kanellis, who should not have been in this match. They brought out Alicia Fox and Zelina Vega to do 90s, early 2000s female shit with. There's some good stuff. Becky Lynch won this match. That's fantastic. Some people had some really, really well-treated things, like Rhea Ripley, we talked about, very good. Nia Jax was solid handled in this one. Bayley was not a joke, which is nice. Got 3 eliminations even. That's nice. And we even talked about the girls who had not been on TV, and Xia Li and Casey Catanzaro were actually pretty good. But it does definitely show some unfortunate things about how women are still viewed in this company, I think. And probably always will.
Well, I mean, that's because Vince McMahon didn't invent women. It was Stephanie McMahon, and Stephanie McMahon is not in charge of anything. Hunter is. So, there it is.
Anyways, next up, we had Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles. Fantastic. Really good. What you would expect from these two, with Daniel retaining the title, and kind of starting this whole new faction thing with Eric Rowan coming out to help him with a choke slam that was really more like a I got your nose slam, but okay.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. I again was watching the Wrestle Talk videos today, and they were saying that this match was a big disappointment, and I failed to understand how.
It was a disappointment in the sense that it wasn't like 6-7 stars that frankly AJ and Daniel Bryan could do, but given a 24-minute match, there was nothing wrong with it. It could be better, absolutely, but this is WWE. We're not really supposed to make AJ and Daniel Bryan look great. We're only pushing them because of the fan reaction.
Yeah, they're not looking for performance. They're just looking for money.
We had a sub 10-minute match with Brock Lesnar defeating Finn Balor by submission,
Waste of fucking time.
retaining the you know what? It was less of a waste of time than I was expecting, because I was honestly expecting Balor to get killed, and at least Balor actually did get to go do some good offense. And like in a weird way, this 8 minutes probably makes Balor look better than the last 3 months combined. So there you go.
You mean better than the last 2 years of booking combined?
That too. And this was the ultimate kind of dumb thing, because like there are three trains of thought as to why this match happened. Option A: Braun Strowman is cleared to wrestle, but they just didn't want to beat him. Option B: Braun Strowman is not cleared to wrestle, and they realized that kind of late, and Finn Balor was a late replacement. Option C: they were planning this for 6 months and failed to come up with any build for it.
I'm gonna go with option C.
It's kind of sad that option C is probably even odds with all of that. But either way, you knew Balor wasn't winning, and you knew that there wasn't really any build.
I was hoping that they'd get him the win. I mean, you need a champion, so why don't you put it on somebody that's good? Because right now they don't have a champion for that belt. There's nobody that's
Because we probably already put Rollins over at Mania. That's probably what it is.
Oh Lord, why?
Which kind of spoiled the winner of the Rumble. But hey, if you haven't watched the Rumble, then why are you here?
Pretty much.
Men's Rumble, we opened up with Elias and Jeff Jarrett teasing a little sing-along thing, and then Elias beat him with a guitar and threw him out of the ring.
Enjoyable, highly enjoyable. I was very surprised. Thanks for coming
up, J. Shinsuke Nakamura, next man in. Nakamura got one elimination. That was Kurt Angle, who is number 4. And otherwise had a kind of unremarkable run, which is a little bit sad for the guy, the reigning Rumble winner.
Yeah, I really don't know why he was even in this match. You have so many people on the roster you don't even use. Nakamura already had a match that night and won a title. What's wrong with you? Were you fucking retarded? Don't answer that. I know you're goddamn retarded.
They have done that before, where they'll have the champion go back in. I can remember back 98, Billy Gunn going back into the match.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're not going to have a story of any kind for Nakamura in the match, and you're not going to have him shine, then this spot could have gone to, I don't know, Zack Ryder or someone.
Literally anybody. What's the guy they have to do the doctor spots all the time for when people have a shitty, no idea for what they should do for a gimmick, so they stick him with this psychologist guy? Put him in there.
Yeah, that would have made about as much sense. Number 5 was Big E Langston. He had a relatively short stay, getting eliminated by Samoa Joe. Not really anything there. Johnny Gargano came out, did some good work. He lasted about 14 minutes. Got to eliminate Jinder Mahal. Thank you, God. And eventually got eliminated by Dean Ambrose. Jinder was number 7, lasted a whopping 29 seconds. This was kind of the one where I came up with, because the Singh brothers came out with him, and then were trying to, like, even after Mahal got eliminated, they were trying to interject into the match. And this is kind of, like, this goes back to the whole heels trying to eliminate people when they're not in the match or whatever. Why don't all the faces just go out underneath the bottom rope and go beat the fuck out of them? There you go.
Yeah.
That would be a great spot. Please book that.
Or you could have Drake Younger come down and kick everybody's ass. Let's just do that spot.
That too. Super Ref is also great. Joe was number 8. He lasted 24 minutes. 3 eliminations. Not bad. Kurt Hawkins came in. Really just comedy fodder. Got eliminated by Joe. Seth Rollins came in at number 10. We kind of spoiled that he wins.
Well,
he got himself 3 eliminations en route to the victory. And, I mean, I can say nice things about Seth Rollins. I can. He's a pretty good worker. He's got great cardio. Somehow connects to the fans. He just doesn't connect to me. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I just don't get it.
And I'm including Tyler Black and ROH in the same thing. I've never really gotten the big star vibe off him. I just haven't.
No, well,
I
there's a
don't.
couple things wrong with him. A, he's wooden as fuck. B, his voice is hyper annoying. C, he's always just looked like some stiff ass greaseball out there. I don't understand. I'm not saying he's not physically talented, but I don't understand any kind of charisma he's supposed to have, other than that one gif of him doing like the double take behind Roman's back while Roman's doing some sort of promo or whatever in the middle of the ring, and your boy Seth Rollins' face comes out and he gives you the whoa, whoa kind of like wacky face. That was cool. I laughed at that. That's the one thing in your entire career.
Yeah, I'm just never really been big on Rollins. And that dates back to ROH. I'm sorry. I just. Titus O'Neil came out, lasted a whopping 5 seconds, and got eliminated by Kurt fucking Hawkins.
Yeah, boy, got that win. That breaks the streak, right? Officially.
Kofi Kingston was out next, just there to get eliminated by McIntyre and do some wacky spots, which were again not very good. Mustafa Ali was there. Mustafa Ali got a good showing, actually. I'm going to say nice things. 30 minutes, got 2 eliminations. Yeah. Actually, had a very solid showing.
Yeah, they're really pushing him. He had an excellent match on the main roster, and I don't know who's in charge of his push, but apparently they're all about that pushing. So keep going.
Mm-hmm. Dean Ambrose was out next, more or less just there to feud with Rollins and get eliminated by McIntyre. No Way Jose came out to last a whopping 2 seconds. So for those of you keeping track at home, we had Jeff Jarrett do nothing, Jinder Mahal last less than 30 seconds, less than 10 seconds for Titus O'Neil, less than 10 seconds for No Way Jose, and they wonder why they have no depth on the roster.
Yeah. And somebody else got eliminated very quickly, and that was Xavier Woods, who's a little ways in the future.
And Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. It's good push on that. Let's push those guys. Got to push them. Push them right out the fucking ring, especially if they're black.
Yeah, McIntyre got 20 minutes in the ring, got 4 eliminations. Solid showing by him. That was more than sufficient. I thought he would go deeper, though, to be honest. He was eliminated before I thought he would be.
Oh, yeah. They botched that really bad.
Xavier Woods, like we talked about, 3 seconds there just to facilitate Kofi Kingston's bullshit. Pete Dunne came out. He did pretty well. Didn't get an elimination, though, but it lasted 10 minutes. Got eliminated by McIntyre. Nothing wrong with that. Andrade came out and was one of the final 4, so props to that. Lasted 22 plus minutes. Got an elimination to his name. So go Andrade. Actually got to eliminate Randy Orton, so that's probably actually a seal of approval right there. So there you go. Doing something with Andrade at least. I like Andrade. Apollo Crews did nothing. Aleister Black did nothing and got eliminated by Baron Corbin, basically. I mean, he got an elimination. He got to eliminate Dean Ambrose, which is, kind of a big deal. But, yeah. Not
Baron Corbin.
Not a great...
Baron Corbin, best wrestler in southern Uganda.
And just as a general point here, I don't like it when they bring in losers from the NXT TakeOver show. Especially one that was in a brutal match like Aleister Black against Ciampa. That just shouldn't really be a thing you bother to do from a storyline standpoint. They did it last year with Adam Cole, too, when he even came out with the wrapped ribs and stuff. I'm like, this is dumb, but whatever. Shelton Benjamin was in the Royal Rumble for less than 10 minutes and got dumped out by Braun Strowman. Not really anything there.
Yeah.
By the way, racistly insensitive moment. Apollo Crews got eliminated, and they said, "There goes Shelton Benjamin."
Yeah, that was a bit fucked. That's not okay. I'm sorry.
Baron Corbin was number 23. He eliminated 2 guys and was tossed out in under 10 minutes by Braun Strowman. That's fine. Jeff Hardy came out. Jeff Hardy got probably the reaction of the fucking card.
I think so, yeah.
Came out with the weirdest shirt I've ever seen, though. What the hell was that?
I do not know.
He didn't last very long either. So the guy with the biggest pop, and you eliminated him in under 8 minutes at the hands of Braun Strowman and Drew McIntyre. So there you go. Rey Mysterio was number 25. He did not last very long at all. And his only elimination was... we'll talk about it later. Orton tossed him out. Bobby Lashley came out, got eliminated by Seth Rollins in 13 seconds. Seth Rollins also eliminated Braun Strowman, who was number 27. That was the final 2, after both of them had been out on the outside recovering from injury for a significantly large chunk of the match.
I am also injured.
Dolph Ziggler, number 28. He lasted to the final 3 before Braun eliminated him. Randy Orton, we talked about, got eliminated by Andrade and eliminated Rey Mysterio. And then number 30 was Nia Jax, because reasons.
I was fine with it. I think she did really good in the match. There was a bunch of shenanigans. She ate an RKO from Randall Keith Orton, so, I mean, if there's anybody who's going to do that spot, it's going to be her. There's no one else except maybe Ronda Rousey or Shayna Baszler that's going to take that spot.
My problem with this, I guess, is because you did this basically same deal in the women's match with... And here's the other thing, really, is that Becky Lynch has to beg Finlay, basically, to get in the match. Nia Jax comes out, kind of like, briefly disables R-Truth. He's most likely not actually injured in any way, even in storyline, and then goes into the match. So, the consistency of this whole thing bugs me. And it's
fucking rules, ref.
And it's that you did it twice in one night. Like, it's the same spot. It's kind of dumb. It's not great. And Nia Jax was involved in both because, of course, she attacked Lana to injure her further.
Yeah, I don't understand at all.
Yeah, I mean, the actual 3 minutes and 11 seconds Nia Jax was in there was perfectly serviceable. She was in there with largely smaller men, which I think largely helped. She seemed big, powerful. Got to destroy some people. Poor Dolph Ziggler, who now in Royal Rumbles has had to be destroyed by Karma and Nia Jax. It's like, we got a big woman, and we got Dolph Ziggler. Ziggler, go out there and get killed. But, no. Like, there was nothing wrong with her in the ring. It's just reusing of the spot and not really well setting it up.
Yeah, well, that's WWE. They don't know how to do things right, and they don't know how to do... Once they get one idea, that idea is the idea for the next 15 years. So expect this spot to be done in every single everything ever, at least if it's not in the beautiful progressive city of Jeddah, where you will get beheaded.
Yeah, less said about Jeddah, the better. So Rollins wins the Royal Rumble. He'll go on to Mania. I don't hate Rollins winning, and he definitely has his fans, but I don't like the fact that they did the lay him out on the table spot, basically, with Bobo Lashley, and, have him then win. I mean...
The only thing I'm disappointed in is now I don't have anything to look forward to at WrestleMania. I mean, it's already... I mean, there's nothing in the main event of WrestleMania I'm going to want to watch. So the main event of WrestleMania, for me, not for everybody, but for me, is already a write-off. I can already go have a nap early.
The only thing that I think would change that is if the women actually get to main event the Mania. Which I don't think is going to happen, but like, let's say Becky Lynch versus Ronda is your main event. That's got me interested.
Yeah, I'm not angry at that at all.
Even like an Asuka Charlotte match, maybe for the other title. That's exciting. And if you do keep doing Daniel Bryan versus AJ Styles, and you want to give him like 30 minutes at Mania, and you want to let him take the gloves off and go at it, that's pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
So there's stuff to look forward to, but yeah, the probable Lesnar-Rollins match is not something I'm super into. Like, we actually have seen Rollins have a good match with Lesnar, like a legitimate one, not like one that people like give him credit for that I disagree with. Like, I enjoyed the match, but that being said, I've seen this. It's not really new. And that's kind of the whole problem with the Lesnar thing. Like, you've been talking about it. You need a champion to defend the title. Like, I don't have a problem with using Lesnar in the manner they've used him for. They've just gone too long. And they've had him beat pretty much everyone that you would want to take that spot. Yeah. Like, the idea of a Lesnar is similar to, like, who's going to beat Asuka in a way that we talked about earlier, is that this should be a big deal. Problem is, you had him beat Roman Reigns multiple times. You've had him beat Seth Rollins. You've had him beat Samoa Joe. You've had him beat Finn Balor.
Yeah, the Joe thing was weird. What? Why? That was the hottest thing for a month straight in wrestling. It's the only time WWE's been on top in so long.
That was my favorite promo in like 5 years with Joe talking about how he's going to choke Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
Like, calm down, Paul. Calm down. I need you to deliver a message for me.
Yeah. So why, oh why, with all of that heat, you put the title on Joe, you don't have to pay Brock Lesnar anymore. You don't have to pay him $1 million every single day he shows up. What's wrong with you people?
Or here's the deal, is that... Now, this would be the question. Is it that they fear that if they take the belt off him, Lesnar won't re-sign or something?
Who gives a shit?
Because I get the feeling that Lesnar does not care about having the belt. He just wants the payday. So you can even have your cake and eat it too. You can trot Lesnar out for a special occasion if you really want to pop a rating, and not have him carrying your belt. It's an amazing concept.
There's one thing we know, it's that Brock Lesnar will do virtually anything for a payday.
Yes.
So you just don't give him the payday. And eventually, he comes sniffing around, and you can give him a smaller payday, but it's still a payday. And you don't have to pay him. I've heard wildly conflicting reports, somewhere between $650,000 per appearance, all the way up to like double that. So why? Who's worth that? Are you really getting, if you're not getting $10 million extra every time he shows up, it's not worth it.
I don't think you have to go to 10, but like the number definitely has to be in the millions of like additional revenue to really make that worthwhile. And you're probably handicapping your revenue otherwise because, not having the title on someone who can defend it at lesser shows is a problem. And we know that your house show attendance or your attendance at live shows is it's been suffering.
Garbage.
Let's put it that way.
Well, they started selling tickets for NXT, SmackDown, and Raw. This week coming up, now. I mean, we're doing this on Monday, and Raw has already happened or is happening, and so they started selling tickets for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT in Phoenix, and NXT outsold them both, almost doubled both. And no one gives a shit about Raw.
And of course, the problem is I don't even think you can really correct your course here, because, like I said, if you beat Lesnar now with anyone that you'd really want him to beat him with, what is it gonna mean? And that's the other problem with like Rollins winning this whole thing is like you don't have someone new for Lesnar. You need someone new that is hot and white hot that takes the belt off and becomes a big star.
Yeah, but they haven't made anybody.
But, because for a long time they filtered everything into Roman, and then they fucked that up by having Roman lose to Brock repetitively. So, like, they didn't even do that right. And yeah, I mean, you've kind of got Braun Strowman, but even he has a loss to Lesnar. To the point where
we have 2 or 3 losses to Lesnar?
Yeah, I think it's only 2. But yeah, I think he's only lost once properly, and then he had that 3-way when they had Kane in there, and Kane ate the pin. Like, I don't know, kind of counts, I guess. But yeah, I mean, like you've got Braun to the point where like there's a legit rumor going around that they didn't want Brock to beat Braun at this show, and that's why that match didn't happen. Like that. That tells you where you're at right now.
Well, that's easy. Then you book Braun Strowman to win, and you don't have to pay Brock Lesnar any. I'm sorry. Do I have to spell each word out for these people to understand? Like, what the fuck is the fucking problem?
There's a significant thing going on here with Lesnar and just utilization of assets in general, and we're kind of seeing that change because it's like this kind of the ironic is, and I've said this like multiple times, that realistically WWE from about 5 years after WCW went out of business became kind of crap because there's nothing to drive them. There's no competition. So the irony is that WCW going under is the worst thing to ever happen to the WWF. Not to Vince McMahon because he makes a lot of money, but like from a product standpoint, from a innovation standpoint, from a doing things right standpoint, from a business standpoint, it actually was the worst thing to happen to them, was becoming a monopoly.
And I don't know. I genuinely have no idea how much of any of that Vince McMahon ever controlled. Because I've always been given the impression that all of the really good stuff happened because of the talent.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely. I'm not even like going on this like, oh, Vince was a genius and now he's just uninspired. No, 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 no. Vince was desperate in the war. He listened to people. It's how you had the rise of a Vince Russo, for better or not. It's how you had the rise of a Stone Cold Steve Austin, who he saw as just a mechanic. It's how you saw the rise of Triple H, who he also really didn't have particularly large plans for. And that worked because you needed to go with what the crowd was responding to. They don't need to do that right now. And that's the unfortunate thing. That's why we had the Roman Reigns experiment for as long as we did.
None of that ever made any sense. It's like he forgot what. Somebody really needs to take Vince and put him in a remedial reading class and teach him what a bedtime story is and how things are supposed to go. And by the end of it, you feel good, right? That's a good bedtime story. You read a kid, and at the end of the story, the kid's totally at peace and pleased and goes to sleep, and then you get to do whatever you want. Same kind of concept. You give somebody a storyline that at the end of it, they're either super pumped about or pleased about, happy, content, and then you get what you want, i.e., money.
You don't have to have it all the time. The face does not always have to win.
You can tell a much longer story that seems to have an ending but doesn't. It's basic. Like, do I have to spell the word basic out for these morons? I just don't get it.
Yeah. And right now, here's the story that we're learning with this. Brock Lesnar wins. The end. And I don't think there's anyone that really wants to see that. Like, we want to see the right guy beat Lesnar, but you also need to give us that right guy.
Well, the problem is that if Goldberg can do it, Braun Strowman can do it with his eyes closed. That's how that is. So they fucked it up, and they've fucked it up for over a year now.
Oh, longer than that. Hell, they even should have put Roman Reigns over Brock and done heel Roman Reigns. Like, that would have worked better.
Absolutely.
Like by the time they finally decided, okay, we're not gonna have Roman beat Brock. I'm like, it's too late. You've gone way too far down this rabbit hole.
Well, yeah. Apparently, Vince just decided to do that morning, like a few hours before last WrestleMania. He's like, you know what? No.
Because the problem is you'd buried the rest of the roster to build Roman. So even if the fans weren't responding to it, guess what? You needed to pull the trigger. And then you can start the cycle again, at least, with a heel Roman or whatever. And then you can maybe give the fans what they actually want.
Yeah, any of that would be fantastic. Any of that at all.
Mm-hmm. But not in WWE. Although I guess the happy ending is that the rise of AEW might actually give us a better WWE product. If nothing else.
Or they're just going to go fucking broke.
Here's hoping not. But we don't know we don't know how. Thing is, we don't necessarily know how behind this the senior Khan is, the one who actually has the money. We know Tony is jacked for this. Tony is all in, but is Daddy all in? And I'll be honest, I saw him there were a video of him at the press conference when they announced everything. He looked really happy. This makes me think that he's pretty in on this.
Yeah, I mean, the rumor is that they're throwing $100 million behind this, which is ridiculous. But there is that rumor. I've seen it 3 or 4 times. And the other thing lately is apparently there's big interest in Matt Sydal. So, I mean, go Matt Sydal, get that money, playa.
Get that money, man. And be smarter with the weed.
Yeah, just be a little smarter in general, I think.
That's all I got for the Rumble and everything else. You got anything else for the people?
No. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I mean, obviously being much smarter than Vince McMahon, I would have done some of this differently. But I can see that how far they've painted themselves into corners that they have no choice but to do what they did.
Pretty much.
Other than that, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Rumbles. The rest of the matches, kind of, we said yay or nay to already. So last year's Rumble, I think, was better, and that's about the only other point I got.
I would agree with that statement. Yeah. I felt much better about the winners at that time, and I felt no, I feel better about Becky than I felt about Asuka, but I felt better about Nakamura than Rollins. So trade off there, I guess. And the men's Rumble last year was better than this year's Rumble, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Say the women's was better, but also sadder because you have a deeper roster and still resorted to 90s, 2000 shit. So
Correct.
There you go. All right, we'll talk to you next week when we'll be covering Double Dose of Impact, some NXT, maybe some NXT UK, maybe some ROH, and we'll see you then. Also, congratulations to Jack Swagger on his MMA debut victory.
Woo!
Not over anyone good, but hey, it's not supposed to be anyone good.